At ease, brothers. Man, you can change your life in one season, man. And when I say change your life in one season, what I mean is like you can actually go from, toxic to healed in a season. You can go from having a poverty mindset to being a six-figure guy in one season. You can go from fat to fit in one season, and all other, polar opposites or extremes, man. You can change your life in one season, man, but you have to disconnect from your truth. Like I'm convinced, man, that as much as I talk about truth, as much as I talk about the book, A Singular Truth, people really still don't understand the magnitude of their truth. And when I say that, what I'm really saying is people really don't understand the power that God put inside of everybody. Think about this. In the Bible, when the word says, God said, let there be light, and there was light. And then God said, let me make man in my image. You put those two together and you really soak on that for 5 minutes, man. And you'll start to understand why I talk about truth so much. Because your truth is what's governing your world. And I'm telling you, brothers, you can change your life in one season if you just simply disconnect from your old truth. Because you have to understand your truth is ruling everything. It's ruling everything. Like your relationships, if you're getting in toxic relationships, if you have healthy relationships, right? It's based on your truth. A lot of that is based on what you saw growing up. It's based on the environment you put yourself in. Your financial situation is pretty much based on the people you hang around. It's based on what mom and daddy, uncle, grandmama and them did with their money growing up. It's based on the content you watch. Your health is no different in every other area of life. Your whole life is based on what your truth is. So when I'm sitting there saying you can change your life in one season, the first thing you have to do is disconnect from your old truth. You have to disconnect from your old truth. And it's deeper than, because on surface level, when I say deep, when I say separate from your old truth, of course, like I'm always talking about, like I'll say things like, hey man, stop going to the same clubs or stop going to the same places, stop doing the same thing, chill out on watching certain type pieces of content or listen to certain type music or cut your ringer off. I'll talk about all those things, man. And that's surface level. Those things are important. But when I say separate from your truth, I'm talking about something much deeper. I'm talking about you have to turn your back on your old beliefs, man. And even with me saying it, I can feel why most people don't do it. I can feel why most people don't do it, man, because think about this. I mean, for me to even say separate from your old truth, think about what that really means. To separate from your old truth is literally somebody saying, so what you're telling me to do is temporarily, in other words, if I'm on life support, the thing that's governing everything, you're telling me to unplug my life support from the wall? Bro, that's a hard thing to do now that I think about it. I understand why most people can't really absorb that message. Because what I'm asking you to do is unplug from the thing that makes your life do what it does. But even so, I guess before even that, I gotta talk about, and I talk about it quite often, connecting with source. Because when you connect on the back end to something that's gonna live forever, you don't care what you disengage in. But if that's your life force, if you're not really connected to that real thing and you're only connected to your truth, now I understand why people can't connect with it. So I would say the first thing is to connect with source. And I talked about that in the last video, I believe. I'll leave a link so you can go watch that on how to connect with source. I spoke about that briefly. But when I'm talking about disconnect from your old truth, it's a hard thing, man, because what I'm asking you to do is disconnect from everything you know. Everything you know that makes your life tick, your beliefs, your religion. I'm not saying leave your religion, but I'm saying question it. I'm saying question everything in your life. Like Pastor been telling me to do a certain thing for so many years. I'm not saying I don't believe him. I'm not saying I need to leave Christianity or leave Islam. I'm not saying none of that. But I'm finna question everything, and I'm finna look at it and see how it's creating my reality. And if it's what I want to create my reality. In other words, if you're telling me this is how I go to heaven or hell, like, I don't know if I want to absorb that. Let me question where you got that from. If you're telling me I need to do this with 10% of my money, or if you're just telling me how to live in general, I'm not even talking about religion. I'm talking about everything. Question why mama put that extra tablespoon of salt in them greens. Question why grandmama and them, put that Kool-Aid on 10 when it comes to the sugar level. Question everything, man. And I understand now that's the hard part. But it takes you turning your back on the world for one season. It takes you sitting still and observing everything for one season. Disconnecting, bro. And I get it. It can be, I'll be honest. Up until this point, I don't think I've ever thought about how scary it could be for somebody that's not plugged in. Because for y'all that are plugged in, y'all understand what I'm saying. When you plugged in, it's easy for you to question anything. It's easy for you to be a part of something, have a belief of something. And if you disagree with it or if you question it, it's easy for you to snatch your energy back for 5 minutes to observe it. Because you're connected to source. Like your lifeline is plugged in. And to be honest, it comes down, it's full circle, man. It's like the conversations are full circle. Because when you can't disconnect from that, when you can't disconnect from your current truth, it really just, in a million words, it really just shows that a person is still trapped on the ego side of life. That's really what it's saying. When you're connected so far to your truth that you can't even separate from it and observe it. It means your spiritual side is subdued because you have nowhere to retreat from. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, man, if you want to change your life, bro, just simply disconnect from your old world, right? And once you disconnect from your old world, man, once you analyze it, discard the things that no longer serve you, man. Like, don't be scared to tell pastor or grandmama them or your uncle them or your great grandfather that been preaching for a million years, or your college professor or your boss or your girlfriend or your wife. Don't be scared to speak your new truth. Yeah, your world may crumble, but that's what you want. That's what you want for your world to crumble, because a new world must now be built. A new world must now be built. So once you disconnect from that old world, once you disconnect from that old truth and you establish what you want to keep and what you want to discard, now it's time for you to form that new truth, bro. And all this can be done in a season. Now you can form your new truth. And even though this is difficult, once you understand how it works, once you understand the power you have, man, this becomes the fun part. Establishing a new truth, bro. This is the fun part. Like, this is the highlight of life, what I'm talking about right now, man. And when I say forming a new truth, I'm talking about, again, like I started off, going from, hey, you know what? My whole life, I've been X amount of pounds. Like, I've always been big bone. I've always been this. And then understanding, like I understand I'm like this because my truth had me like this. I had to create that. And reforming reformulating your mindset, reformulating your truth, saying, you know what? Now I am a person that eats better. Now I'm a person that walks around the block every day. Now I'm a person that my standard is this percent body fat or whatever. Or you go from a place to say, you know what? I used to be the janitor at every job I went to. I work for fast food. I work for banks. I work for chemical companies. I work for all these companies, and I was always going in at the entry level because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. Mom and daddy, that's all they did, man. All they did was entry level jobs at their company. And now you're saying, no, brother, I want to be a manager of a company one day. I want to own my own company one day. That's changing your truth, bro. And I'm telling you, you can do all of that in one season. Like, I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck. I get raised every year, raise after year, but my money stays the same. I'm tired of that. Let me go inside and see what's creating that in my life. What's creating that? In other words, stop pointing the finger out at the economy and what the dollar is doing and crypto is screwing and all this kind of stuff. Go inside of yourself and say, you know what? What truth inside of me is creating that? Because again, if I'm made in the image of God and God is the entity that says, let there be light, and there was light, that must mean that if I'm creating a state of poverty, there's something inside of me that's demanding that, bro. As simple as it sounds, bro, it's that serious. So the main thing is going inside, man, and checking out the software, checking out what's making you run. Checking out what's making you run. Looking at your world, man, say, okay, you know what? This is what I'm satisfied with. This is what I'm not satisfied with. First off, let me take accountability for all of it. Even if I don't understand it's my fault, I understand I'm made in the image. And if it's in my world, I created it. And if I like this, I want to keep this. If I want to change this, let me go inside and see what's creating that over there. Let me go inside and see what my I am is. It's that serious, bro. But I'm telling you, man, you can change your life in one season. And I'm not sitting there, I'm gonna tell you this. There are very few things, and there are very few, if any, times I'm going to get on this World Wide Web and talk about something I don't know. There are a lot of things that cross my mind, but if I don't have enough knowledge on them, especially if I don't have the experience in it, I'm not finna get online and talk about it, bro. If I get online, I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I've experienced. I'm sharing with you how I live. I could look at 3 or 4 times, and I share some of these events with y'all, man, where my life just did something crazy. I won't say miraculous, something crazy. Where I looked up in, 90 days, 60 days, 120 days, and turned around, and my life was just like, how did I get here? Like how did I get here? But I can name on one hand, and that's a lot for one lifetime. I can name 4 or 5 occasions where my life took a quantum leap in 90 days-ish. You know what I'm saying? Quantum leap. And every single time it was when I said, okay, you know what? These are the cards I've dealt. Whether life was good, life was bad, life was okay, I would look around and say, these are the cards I was dealt, right? Like, in other words, this is the hand I'm playing with. Of course, I pull my own hand, but this is the truth that I'm putting out. And I'll say, man, it's time for me to elevate. I'll say, man, it's time for me to level up. It's time for me to experience something new. Like, I don't want to experience the same thing for 90 or 100 years, man. I just don't. Not only do I not want to experience the same thing for my entire life, I don't want to experience what everybody else wants to experience. Like, it's always something that's been in me, man, that just desires to go against the grain. I don't want to experience what everybody else wants to experience. If everybody else wants to live a certain way, man, I want to say, okay, you know what? I might entertain that for a second. Okay, this is what everybody likes. Now let me go inside and see what it is I like. And that disconnection period, man, it's so fun because I'm going to tell you this. The disconnection period is so fun because, well, not necessarily the disconnection period, but the creation period of the new truth. The creation period of the new truth is so fun, man, because that's when you release the chains of the old world and you get a chance to experience new things. Like, man, if I could show you my playlist, I don't even know where my phone is. Like my playlist, man, that I've been formulating over the last, I don't know, few weeks, maybe month and a half, give or take, man. It's music. First off, artists that I never even heard of, man. Genres that I didn't even know existed. You know what I'm saying? And it's music, man, that I'm allowing to come inside of my spirit to inspire me. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to experience something new. It's like, man, I got to think outside of the box that I've been living in. Listening to music, man, and like, bro, like this is a whole different frequency of living. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes watching movies or watching things on YouTube that I wouldn't normally watch, just to open up my essence to something new, just in order to expand, just in order for me to formulate a new truth. Some of that stuff I may keep, some of that stuff I might get rid of that it doesn't serve where I'm trying to go. You know, looking at new places to live, man. It's like, man, I never thought about living in Kenya. I never thought about living in certain parts of the globe that now I'm entertaining, man. And it's like, man, all it takes is one season. All it takes is one season of me unplugging from my old world, forming my new truth to live a completely different life. It's literally that simple, bro. We can sit here and read 1 million books if you want to. That's good. It's inspirational. You can watch your 10,000 hours of YouTube. You can go and pay thousands of dollars in seminars and all that stuff. And these things are good. They're healthy. They're inspirational. But I'm telling you, man, if you have nothing, I'm telling you, if your bank account is in the red right now, I'm telling you if you're in a position where you're waiting on payday just to go grocery shopping again, I'm saying if you have absolutely nothing, man, you can change your reality in one season. If I'm lying, I'm dying, bro. If I'm lying, I'm dying. This is not something soul made up. This is how God made it, man. That entity that you worship every Sunday, when you when you in church doing your thing, that entity that everybody's talking about, set the system up for you to win. Set the system up so, a lot of people, a lot of entities, a lot of governing bodies want to make you think that, oh, well, you can't move a certain way. You can't have a certain thing if you don't check these boxes. Or you don't have a college degree. Now you're not allowed to live a certain life. Or you don't have an 800 credit score. You're not allowed to do and have nice things. You don't check these boxes that I put in place as your governing body. Then you're supposed to live life as a peasant. And they'll teach you to accept that as your truth. I'm going to tell you this, man. A truth can only be established if it's agreed upon. And I'm talking about when a truth is coming from an outside source. That's why I don't play the racism game. That's why I don't talk the one race greater than the other and all that white people do. I don't play that game, bro. It's crazy to me. I'm not saying that people don't hate other people because of their skin color. But for you to be truly affected by it, you have to agree to it. You have to agree to it. All y'all's powerful leaders that talk about white supremacy, they're nothing. Tell them Soul said it. They're nothing. You'll never hear that come out of my mouth. White supremacy, black supremacy, that means that somebody sees that. And I know I'm getting off topic, but that means that some other race sees themselves, or people in that race see themselves as higher than you, and you've agreed to it. To even utter the word supremacy is you agreeing to it. I don't subscribe to that stuff, man. I don't subscribe to it. I don't agree to it. So my life, the reflection of my life, my truth, it doesn't. that doesn't play out in my life. And I use that for an example, but all these other truths that these governing bodies or whatever try to instill in people, man, they can only affect you if you agree to them. If you agree to them. This is the goal right here, bro. This is the ultimate goal. I don't care what your career is. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur, if you're 9 to 5. I don't care it don't even matter. It don't matter what your your religion is. It don't matter what your race is. It don't matter. Nothing matters. All that matters is this. All that matters is you formulate your own truth and you wake up and you experience life every single day like you want to. That's the only goal. That's the true measure of success. When you start looking around at everybody else's truth and how everybody else is winning and what they're calling success, and that's what a win is. Oh, that's what a beautiful woman is. Oh, that's the kind of car I need to have. Oh, that's how big my crib should be. Oh, that's what kind of shoes I should wear. When you're doing that, instead of saying, let me form my own truth, and now let me bring my heaven upon my earth. If that isn't your goal, bro, you already losing. Because now you're trying to create your world based on somebody else's truth or based on the programmed truth that the world is telling you to live. And I'm going to say this. If a lot of y'all are caught up in ego, you're not even hearing what I'm saying right now. Right now, you're saying, Soul is talking some nonsense. Because everything inside of me wants to be better than my next door neighbor. Everything inside of me wants my possessions to be better than Joe Blow's or Sally Sue's. You're losing. You're playing a game you could never win. And I'm not saying you can't win it because you can't because you can keep accumulating stuff. And I'm not saying don't accumulate stuff if it's part of your truth, but you can keep accumulating stuff. But if you aren't living your truth, bro, you're losing. That's why I know, man, there are a lot of people that are living less than. That are living in small establishments that maybe have no cars and are riding bikes to work and they're more happier. They're living a better experience on this planet than some people that it looks like they're living a better experience. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that as if I've been in a position where I've made millions of dollars because I haven't. But I have been in position to where my material gain was far more than what most people had and was steadily growing. And as the cars were stacking up in my driveway, as the house was getting bigger, as the motorcycles and four-wheelers were accumulating in places I didn't even have nowhere to put them, I noticed what my peace was doing. Again, you never hear me say these things are bad. I just understand what that type of living does for me. I understand that as my shiny things grew, it had no effect on my fulfillment. It had no effect on my happiness. My happiness came when I stopped trying to get the shiny things to impress those people and only started living for myself. Like when I said, when I wake up every day, this is what I want life to be like. When I got to that point and I understood creating my own truth was everything, man, I'm going to tell you this. And I don't know who I was telling this the other day. I know who I was telling this. I was telling somebody the other day, man, I said, and I say it all the time. I say, you know what? Of course, Soul wants to live to be, I want to live to be an old man. I want to be an old man that has written several books, that has spoken to people throughout the world, that have lived in a number of foreign lands. But if the good Lord decides to take my life as soon as I get done with this video, I put this on everything, man. I'm grateful. I'm grateful because throughout my journey in life, I figured it out. Not figured God out. God is unlimited. Not figured the whole game out, but I figured out like when God says, seek ye first the kingdom, I figured that out. If nothing else, I figured that out. Like in other words, I figured out how to set my life up where nobody can throw me off energetically, right? Nobody can rob me of my fulfillment, and nobody can rob me of my connection to source. Once you get to that point, it's like, okay, everything after this point is peaches and cream, bro. Everything after this point is peaches and cream, because now I'm fulfilled. Now y'all can have fear about the world doing something. Y'all can compete out there. Like, it's cool, and it's actually fun to watch. Like, a part of that is entertaining. But it's like, man, I've got to the point where nobody can rob me of what's most important to me. Nobody can rob me of what's important to me. My peace, my fulfillment, my God. Yeah, you might can take this where I'm living at. You might can take what's in the garage. Hell, you might can even take the woman I'm with. But you can't rob me of that kingdom, bro. You can't do it. You can take my life. You can put me in a cell into eternity. But you can't rob me of that kingdom, bro. And all that comes from detaching from that old truth and forming a new truth. Seeking ye first the kingdom, brothers.